it's time with the shifting. There's gonna be a new world order out
I
there.
recorded to the wrong place.
True internet suffered depression.
You are fake news.
I am not suicidal.
We'll circle back with you directly. If I can circle back, I'll circle back with you.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Hello, and welcome to episode 263 of the Jeffrey and Brian Show. I am Jeffrey.
And I'm Brian.
And we're just two guys drinking some beer, talking about what's going on. It is Pearl Harbor Day.
Yes, it is.
So,
December 7th
knows,
of 1941.
Yeah, the day the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and the United States entered the Second Great War.
Might have been a big mistake on their part.
Yeah, the Emperor regretted that decision, didn't he? Waking up that sleeping giant. So let's see if we have another Pearl Harbor Day coming up soon and the launch of World War III. I got a feeling it's not going to take a direct attack on the United States this time to get us involved in a global war, though.
No, we're kind of already involved.
Exactly. Before we get into this, I just want to bring up, I think my dogs have died.
What?
They went out Saturday night on their, like, we let them come and go as they want because they have like an invisible fence, and they haven't been back since last week. And it's been getting down to single digits at night. They are cold weather dogs like huskies. But yeah, a week out in 1 degree weather is kind of rough for anybody.
Yeah,
and food and everything, but it's unfortunate. I like those dogs. One of them wasn't even a year old.
Wow, that sucks.
It does. Like, that's the way it goes, I guess. We contacted the invisible fence company, like, hey, what the fuck? Your fence just like shut off on it. It just shuts off sometimes.
What did they say?
They never responded back to us. I was like, great. So my dogs died because your shit failed and you don't even care. Thanks, guys. If I had the name right in front of me, I would tell everybody don't buy this one.
Yeah.
But anyway, Congress Select Committee has said that most likely COVID did in fact come from a Wuhan lab leak.
Right.
Isn't this exactly 1 week
We've
after
been saying that for almost a decade.
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't Fauci just release some crap saying that you guys are all a bunch of crazy wacky-doos?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So,
We talked about that on a previous show.
Speaking of Fauci, I put something out on Facebook asking if Biden was going to pardon Fauci. And Sean sends me back this ridiculous response about how like Trump is the enemy of the people. And I was like, so no, he's not going to pardon Fauci. And then he responded back with another, well, he declared war on the United States. I'm like, dude, first of all, I asked if Fauci was going to get pardoned, and you go into a rant about Trump. I was like, second of all, more people voted for Trump than didn't. Okay, so you are in the minority here. You are the enemy of the people.
Right.
He's just an angry dude who refuses to accept anyone can have a different opinion than him. It's like, it's not even that he doesn't even think you're dumb. He thinks that you hate America. I'm like, dude, you live in Massachusetts. I doubt he's ever been outside of New England. You have no idea what life is like outside of his little bubble. Like, because he thinks you shouldn't be allowed to own a shotgun. I'm like, dude, the literal bears walk through my yard.
Yeah.
Well, while on the Wuhan thing, Taylor Lorenz. Have we ever brought this woman up on the show?
I don't think so.
Okay. She used to work for The Guardian, and then she worked for the New York Times, and then she worked for the Washington Post. She says just crazy things, and she's the biggest online bully there is, and then complains about online bullying.
Right.
And here's a prime example: is she's saying that all of us that aren't wearing masks, like by ourselves in our car, we're raw dogging the air. I'm like, raw. I was like, raw dogging the air. I'm old enough to remember calling it breathing. And we will get back into Taylor Lorenz because she said some more stupid shit later on. But yeah, she'll say stuff like that and say like we're spreading disease and killing everyone because the pandemic is ongoing. Bitch, you need to shut up.
Yeah.
The super mayor. Did you see her meltdown?
No, I read the article though. I'm the one that shared it, you know.
Oh, man, she went nuts screaming. She got fired from one of her select positions.
It was easy money, you know. She didn't have to do shit to like keep the position and get paid.
Oh, yeah, she was the one like who hired the police department as her private security team and was
Hmm.
yeah giving them a
They went
paycheck
from
that
a
was
huge surplus of money before she was elected to now they're running a deficit because of her election.
yeah. I'm surprised she hasn't been arrested yet, but it'll happen. I mean, they tried to recall her in an election. She just said no, and apparently she had the authority to say no. You can't kick me out of office. I thought that was crazy.
That is crazy.
And Penny,
Yes.
Dan Penny. Judge dismissed the top manslaughter charge. What do
Yeah,
you
because the
make
DA
of
is
that?
trying to make it easy. They could only look at the lesser charge if the other charge wasn't there. So the DA asked for a dismissal of the harder, the more extent punishing charge, more
Not so much
extreme
they
charge.
couldn't, not so much they couldn't look at the lesser charge, but they had to come to a decision on it, and they were deadlocked
Right,
on it. So it would have been a mistrial.
right. So they
I'm
threw the
pretty
other
sure.
one out to hope that he can be found guilty of the lesser charge.
So this sounds like this is creating a precedent to allow prosecution to overcharge.
Well, I
Then,
shared an article later on earlier today. I don't know if it made it in here or not. I thought it did, where it showed that Bragg was like basically trying to sway the pool of the jurors by doing this. You know, he was going way out of his way to like make it easier for them to find Daniel Penny guilty.
yeah, and this creates that precedent that you can overcharge and then just dismiss charges as there's no decision made. That's not the way this is supposed to work. Um, you, they, they just want a conviction so bad that they just will completely disregard the law,
Yeah,
and it's probably the next one that you were talking about. The political commentators and legal experts respond to Daniel Penny trial update.
yeah.
Yeah, like all of these guys, like you can't do that. It's not how the legal system works. You have to dismiss charges before they go into deliberation.
And it's bad enough that they're allowed to like a lot of people will judge shop, you know, and find the judge they think can be most beneficial to their
Yeah,
side of the viewpoints.
exactly. And is or was Trump right?
Yeah,
An Ohio woman has pled guilty to stomping on a cat and then eating it. Um, yeah, so Ohio, that's where we had the
wasn't it
situation with,
Springfield, Ohio?
I think so. Now they're saying she's not Haitian nor an immigrant, but
Uh-huh.
they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Uh,
That's fake news.
she pled guilty to it. When the cops showed up, she was like standing next to the corpse of this thing with half of it eaten. I was like, what the fuck's the matter with this broad?
That's some messed up
Now,
shit.
I found this battery technology that is being developed or has been developed, and they're trying to perfect it. It's using carbon 14, like what they use to date old stuff. Carbon
Yeah.
14 dating.
Uh-huh.
It's radioactive, but not like dangerous. And they encase it in laboratory diamonds, and the
Okay.
radiation uh, oozing out is good for like 1,000 years as a battery.
Uh-huh.
So if we could harness this as a form of energy, this could bring the cost of everything in the world down because we don't need as much and we don't have to go and energy won't cost nearly as much. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Won't
Yeah.
have to go and dig a giant hole in the ground, pull oil out of the ground to create. You know, your electric vehicles might actually work. You won't have to plug them in all the time. So here's hoping this works out, but I got a feeling big energy will not allow this technology to hit market. You know, like the conspiracy theories that the automotive industry bought the patent for the water engine, then destroyed it. You know,
Yeah.
other fun news: the Hawk girl might be going to prison.
Yeah. Her meme
Some,
coin didn't work out so well.
yeah, it was some kind of scam how they created these things and just sold them to people. I don't think she's bright enough to have known what was going on and might
Right.
have just been taken advantage of. But apparently, she like deuced out of a Zoom meeting or something because people were asking her questions about it, and she's like, "Fucking," just rolled out.
Uh,
She's trying to hold on to 15 minutes of fame for too long. And remember, her 15 minutes of fame started because she was talking about the way she sucks dick.
right.
So her dad must be so proud.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is.
So wait a minute, you got famous for blowjobs, and now you're gonna go to prison for ripping people off?
Yeah.
Hmm. All right, and we've been talking about these ridiculous women getting upset about Trump's election.
Yeah. It's been a lot of
Now we
food.
have, well, now they're getting sterilized, saying it's the only option, so that they don't have to worry about pregnancy. And I was like, I don't know about you, but I learned that you don't just magically get pregnant.
No, that's
Um,
there's two people involved most of the time.
Yeah, and I was like, you could do birth control, you could use Depo-Provera, an intrauterine device, the Norplant, condoms, diaphragm. I don't know if I mentioned that. The pill, there's this, oh, and abstinence.
Yeah.
And I thought that was what they do anyways. Like, we're not gonna sleep with any men for 4 years. Then what do you need to get sterilized for? Like this whole we're not gonna bang dudes for 4 years lasted about a week because they can't keep their legs shut, apparently. So they're gonna go get their tubes tied at 22
Yeah.
years old, and they're gonna hate themselves when they're freaking 35, you know?
Yep.
It's just it's and the best part is though, this is exactly what the Republican Party has been saying for the longest time is like, take a little bit of personal responsibility and don't
Right.
use abortion as birth control. And these women are like, I'm just gonna go get my tubes tied then.
Well, okay, well that's form birth control too.
It's like, okay, I guess that's what you're going with, but you do realize that just means only conservative people or even normies are gonna be reproducing, and we're not gonna get another generation of these wackadoos.
Well, we can only hope.
Yeah, well, they do
We can
like to
only
try to
hope that the damage is already done, you know.
well, they like to hijack the education system and force this stuff down your kids' throats.
But
Uh,
by the time the people come along that aren't born by the wackadoos, will it be too little too late?
well, right now, Gen Z is the most conservative generation we've seen at this age. Because, I mean, they've been seeing these wackadoos running around just claiming the craziest shit. Like, my 4-year-old's transgender. It's like, your 4-year-old doesn't know what gender is.
No. Only reason he or she thinks they're transgender is because their parents told them.
Yeah, look, my little girl she's almost 5. She gets down on all fours and barks and runs around the house.
She's
Like,
a dog.
is she a dog? And I thought we'll get into this whole transgender thing. It's a whole topic today, which reminds me, I meant to invite Claire on to give us her point of view on this Supreme Court thing going on.
Have you talked to her?
Not really. The only thing I contacted Claire the other day, but that was because I decided to go out into the woods to go try to find my dogs the other day.
Uh-huh.
And I loaded up my Mossberg 500 for the first time. It's just been sitting in storage since I bought it. And I could only get 2 rounds into the magazine tube. And I was like, what the fuck?
So you contacted an ammunition expert.
Well, no, I contacted her after the fact to like, hey, did you even know this is a thing? I had to take the barrel out,
Ah,
disassemble this fucking shotgun, and take a plug out of the magazine tube
huh.
that's put there because if you go hunting for migratory birds, you're only allowed to have 3 rounds in your weapon. So you get 2 in the mag
Ah.
and then 1 in the chamber.
Only
So I
somebody like Claire would know that.
Well, it was all over the internet when I typed it. I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" It's like, "Oh, this is the problem, and this is why, and this is how you fix it."
Yeah.
But I was just like, "This is stupid." So I took it out. Now I can load 5 in the tube, plus the 1 in the chamber.
All right. So six
And I'm
shot.
not.
It's
I mean,
now a
and I'm
6-shot shotgun. Sounds kind of familiar,
5 plus 1 technically is what they call it, and I'm not really sure why. Just like when lighting off SCBAs in the Navy, it's like 4+1 SCBA light off time. Like, why? Why don't you just say 5 SCBAs got freaking activated? By the way, anyone out there, SCBA self-contained breathing apparatus.
They don't have those
Similar.
anymore.
What do you mean they don't have them anymore?
They got rid of the SCBAs in the Navy.
What are they using instead? They went back to the stupid hoses on the line thing.
No, I think they're using oxygen tanks now.
That's what an SCBA is. It's the bottle on your back.
Yeah, well,
Like
I don't know.
it's like a scuba setup, but it's not for underwater.
Oh, I'm thinking OBAs.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ! With that tablet that you had on your chest that burns your lungs because of the
Yeah,
chlorine.
that thing. Yeah.
They got rid of that a long time ago.
Well, I've been out of the Navy for a long time.
Oh,
I'm retired from the Fleet Reserve.
yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I'm not in active reserve anymore either. Uh, and apparently some broad uh has been making TikTok videos of her at Target, taking the tags off of stuff, like cheap stuff, and putting on expensive stuff and scanning it at the self-checkout.
Uh,
She's been arrested twice for this, and she's shocked both times that she got caught. And it's like, you're putting videos out of you doing this.
yeah. You're trying to make money by stealing and by being an influencer. What do you expect?
And this is the problem I'm seeing with a lot of people is they don't realize they think it's okay to steal from these companies.
Yeah, because it's a major corporation, they're not gonna miss it.
Yeah, but if everyone's stealing everything, then the prices of everything have to go up for anyone who's for you and I, we have to pay more because people are stealing from these companies because they have to make their money back and pay their employees.
Well,
Because
people
believe it or
don't
not,
understand that. They think that it's all the corporation's got so much money and so many profits and so much in their bank account that they won't miss it.
yeah, the thing is the margin on these places isn't they're not making 100% on a sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. We need to make sure these people get arrested, go to jail, so the rest of us don't get kicked in the balls. Uh, Especially because $83 billion worth of gold was just found in China.
That could be a problem.
That is going to affect the value of everything on the planet
Will it
for
lower the
a
price of
while.
gold?
It very well could, and it might be time to dump gold and then buy it back in a little while. I'm not sure. Uh, but over here in West Virginia, Yeti Fest hit the Bigfoot Museum this today actually. The games, food, and all sorts of stuff going on. There's a Bigfoot museum out here. It's a Sasquatch is a big deal out here. Everyone's got a Squatch sticker or a cutout on the side of their house. We're looking at one sticker to put on our truck, but just got a Navy sticker I haven't even put on yet because it hasn't hit freezing in over a week. It's been single digits at night. Did go down into town today just before we hit record, and it was almost up to freezing down the mountain in the nearest community. And in Charleston, the capital city, they just put up the Christmas tree and lit the lights up and everything. 12 hours after lighting the Christmas tree in Charleston, it got blown over by the windstorm we had.
It's been really windy here last few days too. So
Well, and it was like a 37-foot tall tree that went toppling over. So I don't know if they've fixed it yet or what they're gonna do, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna need a crane to stand that thing upright again.
well, I mean, don't you kind of need a Christmas tree before Christmas in the Capitol? Or are they just gonna say screw it this year and not do a Christmas tree because it already
Well,
fell over?
you don't need a Christmas tree, but West Virginia, almost everyone is Christian and
Mhm.
some form of Protestant at that. Uh, I did find a Catholic church. It's
Yep,
fairly close,
you said
but
that, and
it's
you've
yeah,
been
it's
going a few
tiny.
times.
Yeah, regularly.
Okay,
Uh,
good.
Going tomorrow, and right after that, my daughter has a birthday party to go attend
You're going to midnight mass tomorrow.
tomorrow. No, uh,
Oh yeah, tomorrow is Sunday.
well, midnight mass is usually on Christmas Day, and I don't think this church does a midnight mass because there's only like 8 congregants.
Okay,
So I don't know
and
if
they're
they
probably
do.
older too. You're probably the youngest people in the church.
There's another couple with kids. That's one of them's my daughter's age, older daughter's age.
Okay.
Well, yeah, for the most part, they're older people. One old lady still wears a mask on her face, but I got a feeling she was wearing a mask before the pandemic thing started.
Oh, okay.
Tell me the good news about Hampton and what's going on with your deliveries.
Yeah, well, Amazon's opened up a big hub here in Hampton a few years back in a old Kmart that was near my house. I missed the Kmart because it was convenient. I could
It
go in
was.
there and get shit that I wanted without uh, any customers being in my way, unlike going to Walmart. But that's
Yep.
probably also why the reason they went out of business, you
That's
know.
exactly right. And that place was empty for a long time.
Yeah, I mean the people that own the land, they waited for years to get the amount of money they wanted out of the land. It sat empty for probably 10 years.
Yeah. I remember driving by and it was like, I'm surprised this place hasn't turned into a hobo shelter yet of people just breaking in and living
Yeah.
in there, you know?
I think it did at one point.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Because Amazon had to spend a lot of money to rehab the building and, get it up to their standards to just be a warehouse. There wasn't even like a big
Yeah.
store or anything, but they've announced that they're going to do a same day delivery site in there. So certain things on Amazon Prime, you
Yeah.
can now order them and actually swing by there, or they'll be delivered to actually same day that you order it. So no
Yeah.
more 1 day, 2 day Prime free delivery. We're talking same day delivery.
Now, see, that's nice because when I was in Mass, we would get it, anything would show up overnight and some stuff would show up same day. Now I order crap. It's going to be a week sometimes before I get it because
Sometimes, yeah.
I'm in the middle of nowhere, though. You know
Right.
what I mean?
And you chose that life.
All right. I definitely chose it on purpose for this reason. And let me tell you, we do so much of our shopping through Amazon now, so I don't have to drive an hour and a half somewhere to buy this crap. I was like, I'll just wait 5 days
Uh,
unless I need it immediately.
yeah.
Uh, and the FBI, speaking of Massachusetts, FBI has shown up and arrested a Boston City Council member for kickbacks and
What?
basically,
That still goes on in Boston?
oh, she hired her brother, I think it is, or family member anyway, at one point, and gave him a giant bonus out of taxpayers' money, and then had him hand her a wad of cash in the bathroom at City Hall. And
Wow.
she pled guilty to this a while ago. And she just got busted again for stealing money from the people and just absolute corruption. And the best part is she ran on cleaning up the corruption in the Massachusetts government.
When she
She was
was the
arrested.
corruption in the government.
Yes, she was arrested outside of her home in Dorchester. If you don't know Dorchester, that is where the Wahlbergs are from. I'm
Yep,
sure you know the Wahlbergs, right?
I do. I
That's where
used
the
to watch the
movie,
show.
yeah, that's where the movie Five Brothers takes place. And oh my God, the Wahlburgers. Have you ever been to a Wahlburgers?
I haven't yet. No.
The burgers are pretty good. They're decent.
You
The
always say
cheese,
the adult milkshakes are the way to go.
the adult milk, exactly. You get booze in your milkshake, which is good. But the thing about Wahlburgers, man, is they use government cheese.
Oh yeah, that too. You told me that before.
Oh, it's so terrible. Um, but yeah, and here's the thing: she is an African migrant to the United States. She came here illegally and was given like basically a pardon to stay here legally, and came in to defraud the people of Boston. So that just gives you here's an example of someone who came across the border illegally and committed a whole bunch of crimes.
Uh-huh. Meanwhile, in other pardons, we got
Yeah.
President Biden going back on his reelection pledge that he would abide by whatever decisions the court system came up with for his son, but he's decided he's on his way out of the Oval Office, so why not pardon his son in the process?
Did you
I've seen a lot of polls about this, even on the more conservative shows. They've come up with most people, like more like 80% of the people would do the same thing for their children if they were in the same position.
Now, had Joe Biden come out and said, he's my son, I'm going to do what I have to protect him, I would accept that argument. I may not like it because you're supposed to put,
Rule of law first.
yeah, and I'm still a big fan of God, family, country. Family
Uh-huh.
is above, but you're the president. But he didn't say that. He said his argument was that the Justice Department is corrupt and they're singling people out. I'm like, Joe, it's your Justice Department.
Right.
You
Exactly.
put these guys in place.
Yeah.
And I
Merrick
agree.
Garland is your, attorney general.
Yeah. And if you're saying that they're selectively prosecuting, maybe Trump was fucking right then.
Yeah.
Did you read the pardon?
Oh, it goes back to like for 14 years or some ungodly
11,
amount,
almost 11 years. Right back to
to
the
the statute
Burisma
of
scandal.
limitations.
Oh, right back to the Burisma scandal that they impeached Trump over for saying, hey, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
I'm sure anyone listening to this show is aware of the Burisma scandal, but just in case,
Yep.
that was when Joe Biden said to Ukraine, you have to fire the guy investigating the company my kid works for. Because Hunter Biden was heading up an oil company, an energy company in Ukraine. And it's like, how is he qualified for that job? And I mean, the guy doesn't even speak the language.
Yeah.
But here's the crazy thing is the pardon went something like 5 hours into the future of when it was signed.
Mm-hmm.
So Hunter could have gone into DC where he was and done anything he wanted because it's all federal jurisdiction and got away with it. Like he could have literally murdered people in the street of DC and had a pardon waiting for him in advance.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of people were saying that clearly he went so far back in the past to cover his own ass. But here's the question I have for you, Brian. Now that Hunter has a pardon for all of this stuff, now he can no longer plead the fifth when it
I heard
comes.
that. I heard that. But what would having Hunter involved, how would that like be beneficial to the Republicans?
The Burisma scandal. Now he can't say I refuse to testify under what's going on under the Fifth
Okay, and who
Amendment. Now
else besides him would be involved in Burisma?
his father. What about all the money he got from China that he gave to the big guy? That Hunter came out and admitted Joe Biden was the big guy who was getting 10% kickbacks out of these deals. He was peddling American influence through his father. And now
Okay,
he
I
doesn't.
mean, I understand what you're saying, but in the end, I don't think Trump will do anything with it. We've already seen how he deals with his political appointments, opponents after he's elected president. He had the chance to like really push for Hillary to like be locked up or be like humiliated, after he won the election against her, but he said no, let's put bygones be bygones and be done
That
with
was
it.
that was before they sicked the entire weight of the judicial system in the United States against Trump. I think Trump learned a lot of lessons. That's why he's not going with guys like John Bolton
Right.
and these other guys. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but he can now be compelled to
Yes, he
testify.
can. You are correct. Yep.
Very, very curious how that could work out. Whether or not anything comes of it, I don't know.
Right.
But like, oh man, the news, that's all they talked about for the longest time.
Right.
Still about how shoot, what was it? NBC News is saying that sources are claim that Biden, while he was saying I will not pardon Hunter no matter what, always had it on the back burner and kept it
Of
as
course he did. He's the father.
and well, the funny thing is, I keep hearing like The View talking about how Trump pardoned his daughter's father-in-law. I'm like, so if that was bad, then how come it's not bad when Biden does it?
Right.
It's that whole double standard thing.
Oh, it's all double standard. Yep.
And here we go. Let me see if I can bring up. Oh, of course, it doesn't want to load. Bring up this interview, and let me guess, it's what is this? Fox? No, it's not. Oh, it is Fox. So it's probably going to be a commercial first, huh? But this reporter confronted a Dem representative.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Let's see what they have to say.
All right.
Go ahead, guys. Take your time. Oh, give me a commercial.
You said there'd be no commercial.
No, it's Fox News. It's always commercial.
I mean, you went out on a limb backing up Biden when he said that there would not be a pardon. In July of 2023, just after that plea deal fell through, this is what you said. I want to watch.
Do you think a pardon for his son would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends and anyone who had any access to him. And I think you see that in this case, where he kept on, and Merrick Garland kept on, a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the president's son. If there is not an indication of the independence of the Department of Justice beyond that, I don't know what we could look for.
What does that feel like, watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden was not going to issue a pardon for his son?
Yeah, and I think that if that plea agreement and that plea deal had gone through, there would be no pardon. That was a satisfactory.
Obviously, if you got a plea deal.
Yeah, that plea deal was a shit show, man.
Sorry?
When you reacted, this was when the deal had fallen through. And I hear what you're saying about the Kash Patel appointment, but, you know, you took him at his word. So what does that feel like, knowing that he's gone back on it?
Okay. Now, it was Fox News that had the article, but it was a CNN interview that was confronting this guy.
Yeah.
And I love this double speak. Like, well, you know, had he got a plea deal, there wouldn't have been a pardon. Obviously, there wouldn't have been a pardon.
No, there would have no reason for it. But that plea deal was so sweet. It was like exonerating for like the last 10 years and the next 30 years kind of deal, you know?
Just like this pardon.
Hmm?
And I'm a little pissed off I'm pissed off about a lot about this. What really gets me is the gun thing. Because I want to see that get appealed up to the Supreme Court of the United States and have this background check thrown out the way it stands. Because filling out this background check to purchase a firearm, you have to self-incriminate if you've done certain things. And that's if you currently use or are addicted to illegal drugs. That's self-incrimination on these forms, and you have a right against that. Supreme Court could have stepped in and said, nope, can't do that. But now we're not going to get a chance for that to go up to the Supreme Court. So that means that this is going to stand the way it is. But oh man, what a lot of the left-wing news and elected officials are just like, I can't believe he did this. You know, it's like everyone is losing faith in the judicial system, and the only people that don't, that haven't, have their heads so far up their ass they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, here we go. Let's see if I can't find this, get this one up and running. Of course, this, oh, man, another one from Fox News, even though it's an MSNBC interview. She was asked about this and hadn't heard about it yet. I bet there's another commercial. Oh, look at that. Bitcoin directly. Oh, look at that. I can't even skip this one. I've listened to the entire damn commercial. This came out and they were talking about MSNBC and Molly Jong Fast. That's an unusual name. Was cut speechless. She had no idea how to respond to this. Hadn't heard it. Like she was waiting.
News is reporting that President Biden is expected to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. The president's son was convicted on all 3 felony charges in June related to the purchase of a revolver in 2018 when prosecutors argued Hunter lied on a mandatory gun purchase form by saying he was not illegally using or addicted to drugs. According to NBC News, the president made the decision this weekend. Molly, fast and furious, what do you make of this new news?
I just heard it. I have to process it. I don't have a take. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what she said was, I have to get back with everyone else and find out what our talking points are going to be because I can't have an opinion on this on my own, is what I heard, right? Like, oh, I need to process this. I just heard this. You had an opinion on this as soon as you heard it. And even if you heard it immediately and someone asked you, what's your opinion? You would have been like, well, I'm pretty sure Joe promised for 4 years he wasn't going to do this, you know? Brian?
Yep, that's correct.
All right, I thought I lost you there for a minute.
No.
It's and now we got a federal judge accusing Joe of trying to rewrite history with this stuff because, like you said, he went back 11 years, well past the gun and the tax charges.
Yeah.
And I'll go as far as to say I think this tax evasion thing should have been thrown out. Yeah, he did create shell corporations and intentionally hid money from the federal government, the IRS. But it got paid back with penalties. I think that's good enough. I can accept you pay back your back taxes, even if you tried to hide it from the government. You get a penalty attached to it, like a interest or a fine.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that because I'm not going to give Hunter Biden different standards than everyone else. And that's the same reason why I want to see the gun charge go all the way up, was because in order to protect Hunter that way, not even protect him, but the Supreme Court would have had to get involved and say, yes, either this is acceptable to force you to answer these questions, compel you basically to testify against yourself, or no, you're not allowed to do that. But no, that's, and again, this is the whole, no one's above the law. Look, we're prosecuting Hunter Biden just like we're prosecuting Trump. Then Hunter Biden gets a blanket pardon, not just the crimes that he's been accused of, but anything he may have done against the people of the United States for 11 years. Jeez Louise. And then you got Maddow defending this pardon, this Kash Patel as a hit list. What? This is really bothering me because they're saying that he's going to go against Trump's political enemies. No, that's not what he said. He said he's going to go after, they said even journalists. No, he said he's going to go after people that have violated the law in an attempt to sway elections by making stuff up and putting it out there and lying to people and hiding stuff like the laptop, Hunter Biden laptop. Remember that, how like a purge from the internet? You were
That
a
was
nut job.
bad. That was
Yeah,
bad.
you were crazy if you believe this, and you were a conspiracy theorist, and it got proven to be accurate. But that had already been suppressed across the entire internet leading up to the election of 2020. Oh my God! And they're finding any excuse to well, some of them. A lot of these news outlets are like, "That's bad. I can't believe he did that." And meanwhile, you and I, like, we all knew this was going to happen, you know.
Yeah.
And then the View went and doubled down on the Woodrow Wilson, the claiming Woodrow Wilson pardoned his brother-in-law. We know this didn't happen because we can do a basic Google search, and you would think that the name used for Woodrow Wilson's brother-in-law was Hunter DeButts.
Yeah.
Would have been enough for them to go, maybe this is fake news. But
yeah,
if you're getting your news from the View, you're a fool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
More than once, they've had to go and publicly apologize and set the record straight. Once for Gates and once for Hegseth, right?
Yep.
And I gotta say, I did enjoy watching her read these corrections because you could tell she was furious.
Oh yeah. She did not want to be reading that thing.
No. Yeah, and it's funny because Whoopi recently came on. I was like, I'm not a journalist. Then why are you putting news out? You're not talking about opinions. You're telling me this happened. Now, we are not news. We are reading the news versus telling people what's happening. And then we're discussing what we think of it. And again, don't get your news from us either. We're just two drunk guys drinking beers, talking about what's going on.
Yep.
But this is why I brought up the Fauci thing. Because I read this article how the White House was considering preemptive pardons for Fauci and Schiff and a whole bunch of other guys. So I was like, shit, as soon as I saw this, I put out, is Biden going to pardon Fauci? Waiting, hoping someone would be like, you're fucking stupid. Why would he do that? And then have the news come out that he did. You know what I mean? But one dude came back and said, no, because then you'd have to admit Fauci did something wrong. But no, you wouldn't, because they give Biden, Hunter, a blanket pardon. They didn't have to admit that he did any of this stuff wrong. He just said anything he did or may have done. Plus, Fauci definitely perjured himself in front of the United States Congress.
Yeah.
You remember that, right? When he denied the gain of function research, which we talked about last week too, didn't we? Brian's got something more important going on his cell phone, I think.
No.
Trying to grow them pot plants quick.
No, they're screaming, yelling going on with Kathy out front. So.
Oh, wonderful. So you guys got fights in the street on Pearl Harbor Day.
Something like that.
Well, Trump is now citing the Hunter pardon as a reason for a pardon, considering the New York case.
Yeah.
Which one is New York? That's the money laundering one?
Yeah. Hush money.
Yeah, that's gonna get thrown out either way. Possibly overturned. The judge has already talked about throwing it out. And I believe, isn't that the one that had to be in addition to another crime? That they never defined what the initial crime was?
Well, it was a misdemeanor, as the normal people would charge it a misdemeanor, but the attorney general in charge, I believe it was Bragg again.
Yes.
He took everything and made it he changed the statute of limitations, and he made it also it could be charged as a felony to get around the statute of limitations.
Yeah, I say he had to make it a felony to extend the statute of limitations.
Right.
But to make them felonies, it had to be in hiding of another crime. But the judge, Merchant, said you don't even have to have any kind of agreement on what this initial crime was. You just have to think he had some kind of crime he was trying to cover up. Which, I mean, I would say New York, obviously, they're all going to vote against Trump on this, but every single state in the union got redder than it was 4 years ago. Every single state voted more Republican than 4 years before. And even Stephen A. Smith, he is a left-wing dude. I want to say he's a congressman, but he might just be a yeah, I'm not sure. He might just be a journalist. Like, so many names, tough to keep track of them all. But now he's saying, like, oh, the Trump prosecutions may have been a witch hunt. This is what half the country's been saying for 6 years. And I mean, it's obvious. We even had guys 4 years ago saying if this guy's name wasn't Trump, they wouldn't have brought these charges against him. And I believe the prosecutor in New York, not the actual AG, but the actual prosecutor is Fannie Smith, isn't it? Or Fannie Willis?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just lost her big RICO case against the rapper, the longest case in New York history.
Right.
And oh man, she was the one who hired her boyfriend?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And she kept paying him mad stacks.
And cash.
Yeah, and she's like, well, he took me on vacation, but I paid him back in cash because I'm black and I keep stacks of cash under my mattress. It's like, bitch, did you just say all black people keep stacks of cash under their mattress? Because that's stupid. Because all you need is a fire and all your money's gone. I mean, I keep some cash in the house, but not enough to pay back a trip to fucking Greece. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now CNN recently had this dude, Harry Enton. I've been watching a lot of his stuff. Maybe there's not a video of it. I thought there was. Anyway, he's saying that the trust in the FBI is plummeting since January 6th.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah, nobody trusts any of this stuff. And you still have your crazy whack jobs on the far left digging this selective prosecution. I mean, you have people from January 6th that are still sitting in jail awaiting trial, and it's been 4 years. Like, I thought you had a right to a speedy trial, and you can't just hold people without charge for 4 years. What's going on, Brian? What's going on over there?
The grandson Liz's got a fever, so.
All right.
And there was screaming and yelling going on at other people in the house. I can explain that off the air.
That's all right. Just be assured that it is not coming through your microphone. And I know it can be distracting to you, but don't worry.
It's super distracting.
I know how that is, but we're not here in your home private business, okay?
Oh, thank God.
Oh, I know how it is, man. I got a dehumidifier sitting next to me that kicks on and off, and it's loud as fuck to me, but you guys don't hear it.
Okay.
Luckily, I don't hear the family because they're upstairs.
Right. You set it up that way. That was probably one of the things you were looking for in a new place,
Oh yeah, I didn't have. Yeah, geez, you remember that though? Like the daughter would run through screaming about something. Like, oh, there she goes. I mean,
yep. Give me a second. I got to take care of this.
Obama has given his first post-election speech.
Yes, he has. He blames it all on somebody else.
Oh yeah, that's what the Dems are good for, though, isn't it? Like, it's never my own personal fault for what happened to me. It's always someone else's fault.
But I mean, I saw a lot of people come out and say, it's like, hey, bad news for you, Obama. You have no say-so in the Democrat Party anymore. You're out. You've been out of the touch for this long, and the voters don't listen to him anymore.
They used up the rest of his credibility.
Yep. Used it all on like endorsing Biden.
And then Harris.
And it's gone now. So.
And did you hear Denzel Washington apparently is like super pissed at Obama because Obama like talked him into getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Denzel, man, like, you just took this dude's word for this shit and didn't bother finding out
Right.
if you should get involved and endorse a candidate.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, a lot of celebrities now are saying they're not going to get involved in this
Well, whatever. I
political
don't believe
crap.
it.
Well, Sarah
That's
Silverman is
4
one.
years from now. They will all get involved
Yes.
again to
Well, you know
keep
what?
JD Vance from becoming the president.
That's what bothers me, though, is they're talking about, oh, the wealthy people. I'm like, motherfucker, you got 6 houses worth $10 million,
Yeah,
and you're going
and
to tell me
you
about how
got
the
6
wealthy.
houses in 5 different countries type deal.
Yeah. And, I was like, and you're going to tell me how the wealthy are taking over. It's like, bitch, that's you.
Yeah,
You know?
you are the wealthy.
You have no idea how it is to live as an American citizen without a
Paycheck to
giant.
paycheck.
Yeah. All right. No, let's assume you don't even live in paycheck to paycheck. Let's say you have $10,000 put aside for an emergency. You know what I mean?
That's not the average American.
It should be, honestly. Like, you
It's
should
not,
have
though. Let's come back to reality.
Well, I'm sorry, man. I've been putting money aside my entire fucking life. That's how I managed to go and buy a house. And granted, I don't have 10K sitting around in liquid cash.
Yeah.
But I have investments put aside. I have all sorts of stuff that shouldn't hit the fan. Just like I cashed in a bunch of Bitcoin to move here.
Yeah.
But
you made a mistake.
I can't just, I bought back in right before it hit $100,000 a coin.
Okay.
So oh, by the way, there's rumors, don't know if it's true, rumors that Trump is going to create a national Bitcoin reserve, just like the gold reserve. If that's true, I see Bitcoin hitting $250,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's going to happen, but if it is, you're going to want to get in when it's just under 100K now a piece to get a 250% return. You know?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm used to getting 5 to 10% return over a year on all of my investments combined. You know, and some go down, some go up.
Yeah.
Verizon has been fun for me over the years because I buy it. I wait for them to get split up by the government as a monopoly. Then I buy Verizon. I wait for it to get huge and buy up AT&T, Bell Atlantic, all these other ones. Then I sell it again right before they get split up by the government. Once they get split up, I buy it again and sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Similar to what I've been doing with silver. As soon as Trump was announced that he won the election, I went and dumped a whole bunch of precious metals, knowing it was going to drop in value because the dollar was going to come up. I'm going to wait for it to level out and buy back all my gold and silver at a lower price. Definitely not giving financial advice to anyone out there, but that's if you can get in on these cycles by paying attention to what's going on. That's how you create a little nest egg and sit on, you know, $5,000 in silver, $2,000 in gold, $100,000 in Verizon stock, Boeing. How long have we been talking about Boeing, and is it time to buy Boeing?
Right.
Yeah. Did you? It's down in leftovers, but did you see? They just lost their plea deal concerning the 2 plane crashes they had a couple years ago.
Yeah.
This is gonna wreck their stock. They tried to get out of this like a $467 million payment, and the court was like, "No, that's not gonna happen. You guys are boned." Oh man. All right. So let's move on to this assassination attempt at Trump.
Yeah.
Looks like the acting director, Ronald Rowe, got into a shouting match with the Texas Republican Pat Fallon concerning the shitty job Secret Service did.
Yeah.
And I was like, wasn't this guy not in charge of the Secret Service when this happened?
No, he wasn't.
Like the woman who got fired or resigned over this. So this guy didn't even do it. Like, wasn't even in charge of what happened. It wasn't his fault. And he still threw a temper tantrum, screaming at people. It's like, people sitting at the rally like, hey, look, a guy on the roof with a gun. And
Yeah.
nobody did shit about it.
Right.
Oh, we couldn't get on the roof because it was sloped. Dude, all roofs are sloped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's
how
too
did the
dangerous.
gunman? How was the gunman up there? If you couldn't get a guy up there. Oh my goodness. And a woman who threatened to blow up Trump with an explosion has been sentenced to like 11 years in prison. She didn't think that was going to go anywhere because apparently you can get away with threatening to kill people. Oh my God. But while we're talking about assassinations, the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, was assassinated. At least I'm saying it's an assassination.
Yeah, it was pretty brazen when it happened.
Yeah, dude was sitting outside and waiting for him.
Yeah, as he's going into a stockholder meeting, and you know, apparently he'd been getting death threats for a while, and apparently nobody took him seriously because he didn't hire private security to like
What's private
protect.
security really going to do for you, though?
Well, if you hire ex-SEAL Team 6 members, you might be okay.
No, you'll still get shot. That dude will just get shot dead too. Like, they're not going to shoot some dude down for being close by. But very interesting situation here. Apparently the guy got on a bus from Atlanta, took it up to New York, had cryptic messages written on the bullet casings.
Yeah, that was the weird part for me, was the cryptic messages on the board casings.
Well, it wasn't, they weren't the same words. I can't remember what they were. Deny.
There was four. There was three of them. You know, they all like started with a D kind of thing.
Well, there was a book released several years ago with two of the three words. I can't remember what they were. Was a book about health insurance companies taking advantage of people.
Well, United Home Healthcare made a ton of money during COVID, so that's when they made most of their money.
And that is what's really driving me nuts about this, because I'm seeing a lot of people, to include Taylor Lorenz, the former Washington Post reporter, saying this is why we want these guys dead. And then she posted a picture of Blue Cross Blue Shield's CEO and her name.
Right.
And it's like, what, this, you're next?
Yeah. And apparently everybody's freaking out about how United Healthcare was under investigation by the Senate. You know, there was like congressional subpoenas coming out and stuff.
Yeah, well, my big argument about all this is, besides just it doesn't make it okay to kill people.
No, never.
If you hate the health insurance company so much,
switch.
Cancel your insurance and pay out of pocket.
There's other health insurance companies out there. There's not just one. We have not gotten to the point where Obamacare is the only choice you got, you know?
Not even that, but health insurance companies are making money, obviously, right?
Because there's competition involved. You have to make money to stay in business, you know? It is what it is. That's the way the American system's set up.
Well, that means on average, the American citizens paying more money into health insurance than they're taking out, which means it would cost you less money to pay your health care costs on your own. Put the money you would have put into your health insurance into an account as a health savings account. And, it costs too much for these procedures. Yeah, but if you say, I don't have insurance, I have cash, they give you massive discounts. I'm not kidding you. Massive discounts, because they don't have to go through a private company and wait 6 months to get paid. You know? If you're that upset about the insurance, yeah, cancel it, go to another company, or pay out of fucking pocket.
Yeah.
Obviously, these companies are making money. They have to be taking in more than they're paying out.
Exactly.
And it's mine, but the average American's like, I don't have that. Obviously, you have that kind of fucking money because you're paying it into a monthly plan.
Right.
Okay, yeah, your business may be helping pay into that, but I'm sure if you said, I'll cancel the insurance, I've done this before. I turned down the insurance and said, pay me extra because I'm going to set up a health savings plan. The business I worked for paid less money to keep me employed,
Right.
and I got paid more money to be employed.
Yeah, because you had you had your health coverage.
I had private health insurance that I didn't have to go through the business, which is funny because the last place I worked, the South
They
Shore
said
Bud,
no.
yeah, they're like, well, so what? You just not gonna have health insurance? I'm like, that's none of your business. I'm like, well, we won't do that. And I was like, okay, then I'll take the health insurance. Like, well, you just said you didn't need it. I was like,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
fuck you guys.
yeah. It's like I gave you the option to pay less money. You said no, so I guess I get an extra 15 cents off my prescriptions now because I have 2 insurance plans.
Yeah.
But I mean, the place before that, when I was working at the weld factory, the factory, welding and machining, making supplies for the weld industry, testing supplies for like destructive testing and such. I talked to them. They were excited to pay less money out total to keep me employed, and I got an extra like $7 an hour or something stupid, which was awesome because I was getting like $40 an hour welding, and it was one-man assembly line. I would do all of the welds. So it wasn't even like I was a different job every day, like a repair job. It was production, fabrication. So it was like once you learn how to do the basics, it's the same every fucking time. But it's then you got the View is saying that people are excited, cheering for this assassination. Just shows you how people are feeling. It's like they were the people that paid for these damn vaccines that all the people on the left demanded everyone get. And the vaccines are free. Fuck you, they're free. It came out of your premium. The vaccines, Brian. Like, the vaccines were free. No, they weren't.
No, somebody pays for those vaccines.
Yeah, and
nothing's free when it comes to healthcare.
Nothing's free at all. There's no such thing as free anything. It came out of someone's pocket somewhere.
Yep.
And this is what's so damn frustrating. It's first order thinkers. They don't put 2 and 2 together to get 4.
Right.
And I'm more than a little frustrated that people are cheering for this and saying this is the next one. This is the next one. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I'm living in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Right.
And have more guns in my house than people. Geez Louise. Now, granted, the hospitals are hiked from me. So
hopefully I don't need it anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. I hope I don't have an accident. But speaking of, I meant to bring this up earlier with the Hunter Biden revolver. I bought the wife a .22 revolver for Christmas. So I don't know.
Yeah, you mentioned it on a previous show.
Oh, I did. I didn't.
Yeah, last show I think you brought it up.
Oh, I didn't realize that. It's sitting right over here in the closet. I didn't realize.
Well, I mean, it may have been mentioned later on in the show when we barely know what we're talking about anymore,
or even after. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. So, this Caller Daddy lady, the podcast Harris did. She has no idea how Harris could have possibly spent $100,000 to recreate the set of Caller Daddy.
But they did it.
Well, she said for one, her set didn't cost $100,000 to build in the first place.
Right.
And she said, and the one that they created was made of cardboard. So
money laundering's involved.
Exactly. Where did all this money go? Maybe that's how she spent $1 billion on her campaign. Which I'd like to point out, Kamala Harris spent over $1 billion. Hillary Clinton spent over $1 billion. Barack Obama was the first one to spend over $1 billion.
Right. A lot of Democrats spent over $1 billion.
Yeah. Trump has not spent over $550 million at a time yet.
Well, I think most of his money comes out of his own pocket. He does fundraising, but not like the Dems do.
Well, especially $500 million. The dude's worth $4 billion still. And granted, this is what gets me because back to the assassination thing. They're saying these guys are billionaires.
Right.
They have the money to handle this. Do these folks genuinely think that these guys have Scrooge McDuck style money bins full of cash?
I think they do.
Like they say Elon Musk, he's got all these billions of dollars. It's owning Tesla and SpaceX and X, and you know what I mean? It's the companies he owns.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have $1 billion in his bank account. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Like my net worth, I don't want to give you my net worth because it's not anyone's fucking business, but it's tied up in like my truck, my stocks, my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was talking earlier, it's like I have access to cash if I need it, but I have to sell things off to get to that money if I need it. Which is like shit. When it came time for us to pay the annual dues for our storage fee, it's like, all right, I need to wait till the first of the month when I have some disposable income because my entire worth is tied up in stuff. I don't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't have $50,000 sitting in a bank account somewhere.
Nah. I wish we did. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing. We could focus more on the show.
Well,
it
the
is
thing is,
what it is.
If I came into a windfall and came across 50 grand cash, I would immediately invest it. Because it let it go up in value. Shit. Right now, the wife and I are looking at buying land here in West Virginia because it's very inexpensive, but land is finite.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only going to go up in value.
Yeah.
You can't make more land. Shit, dude. You should look into this. There's a plot right near us. It's like 20 acres for like $60K. That's a huge plot of land for no money.
Right.
It's right next to, there's a road going to it. There's power lines going to it. So it's easy to develop it. And even if you don't do anything land, sit on it for 10 years, turn around and sell it for more than you bought it for. Because this property here, 150K value for the home and property. It's 1.3 acres. This house is twice as big as what I need. I pay something like $37 a year on property tax. So like it doesn't even cost that much to just sit on it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, again, Harris spend $1 billion, still owe, then go 20 million into debt. But apparently she's paying people all of this money that no one understands how could it possibly cost that much money. You paid someone $100,000 to build something that cost 10,000.
Right.
How do I get that job?
You're not a Democrat.
I won't. So what? I'll pretend I'm a Democrat.
Okay.
I won't even make this shit out of cardboard. I'll make it out of actual wooden drywall. You pay me 100 grand, it'll still only cost 10 grand to make. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm still not
Charlemagne
sure.
the God.
I'm still not sure what I think of Charlemagne the God. I can't decide if he's grifting or if he's just behind the times. But he was going on about how the Democrats think they're the pure party and they have the moral high ground.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, talking about the Hunter Biden pardon. And then he went on to The View. And oh man, he tore Whoopi a new one, and she got so offended.
Did you kick him off the show?
No, because he got up and gave her a hug.
No, brother.
But Whoopi's saying that, he just changed his mind. Oh, motherfucker, Whoopi, do you believe that is basically what he was saying? He's like, you're full of it. You know you're full of it. You're telling all these people garbage.
Nobody believed it when he said he wasn't going to pardon Hunter. Nobody.
Yeah, he didn't change his mind. This was the plan the whole time, and we all knew it.
Yeah.
And which is,
and even if he did, if for some godforsaken reason he decided not to, I know a president coming in that would have pardoned him. Just
sooner
to
or
like,
later.
Trump would have done it.
Maybe, or maybe he would have. Well, actually, I'm not sure what authority the president has to retry a case. That might not be possible, but so he might have had to go with the pardon. And Trump may have like, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Trump is trying to like prove that you guys were on a political witch hunt against me for the last 4 years. Fuck you guys. I don't give a shit about Hunter Biden. I'll pardon his ass.
Yeah.
His own dad wouldn't do it. I will. What kind of political points would he score for that?
Well, how many political points did he score for not prosecuting Hillary Clinton?
Not enough.
None. Actually, it pissed off a whole bunch of libertarians that went and looked to the Republican Party and said, huh, kind of like this Trump thing going on you guys got over there.
But not enough.
Yeah. And a lot of libertarians voted Trump this time because the guy that they nominated was a joke. They should have nominated Johnson, but
Can we only hope that Bill Maher quits the show because of Donald Trump?
let's be Bill Maher said, because I don't want to go through this again. It's like, well, then don't just spend 4 years talking about how he's Hitler, dude.
Yeah.
Like
that was this whole show.
Well, Bill Maher's been driving me nuts for a long time. I remember watching Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher when I was young.
And it was entertaining and it was like insightful. But
yes, but Bill
not
Maher
anymore. None
news.
of these political shows, even none of these shows that like try to make fun of the Republican Party or conservatives are even worth watching anymore. They're not even worth being on TV anymore.
No, and that's why a lot of these networks like MSNBC are being split off from Comcast.
Well, Bill Maher's on Max.
Yeah, I'm just, Rachel
But
Maddow.
Warner Brothers is going to keep paying for him for a little while longer. But for how much longer?
Maher hasn't watched the news in over a decade.
No, he's got writers. He just reads whatever the writers tell him to read.
A prime example I have is Dennis Prager. You familiar with Prager?
Name sounds familiar.
Okay, he does Prager University online, and anyway, it's not a real school. It's just what they call it. Was on the show many years ago talking about tampons in the men's room.
Okay.
And Bill Maher's like, no, they're not. You're out of your mind. Men.
They didn't go to Minnesota, did they?
Well, that's the thing. He's like, it's happening. Here's the story. He's like, that's for their girlfriends. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because I go to the bathroom at school to get a tampon for my girlfriend.
No, never done that.
Right?
Never will.
No. I don't know about you, but like every woman I've ever known that is still menstruating keeps at least one product in their purse at all times in case of an unexpected. And they know when their cycle's coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, shit happens. But you're not going into the men's room to get a tampon.
No.
And yeah, he just ripped him, and everyone was laughing at Prager. And it's like, this is real though. And then it came out, this whole trans thing came out. And Bill Maher's like, this is you guys are getting out of control. You're ridiculous, And it's didn't pay attention until you couldn't ignore it. So David Hogg.
Yep.
You remember that name, right?
Oh yeah.
Was he Sandy Hook?
No, Advert Sandy Hook. It was what I thought he was the guy that was involved in like the protesters in like Arlington Cemetery or something like that.
Well, he was at one of the school. He was a student at one of these school shootings, but he wasn't.
He was in the Catholic school, and they no. I don't know.
Anyway, he's quote seriously considering running for the top DNC job, the vice chair basically of the DNC to fix the condescending tone of the Democrat Party. It's like David Hogg. That's what you've been doing for years, is calling everyone stupid over gun rights and condescending to everyone, saying you just don't know what you're talking about. And I'd like to see him, because he's a fool. He's an idiot. He got a free ride to Harvard over his publicity. Didn't learn a damn thing, apparently, in which we know that Harvard is not what it used to be.
No, it's not.
Meanwhile, AOC is talking about running for president again. And I'm hearing a lot of Republicans.
He was part of Parkland. He was a senior at Parkland High School shooting.
Okay, so he's at Parkland High when that shooting happened, but he wasn't at school that day.
Right.
But yeah, AOC is looking to run for president again. Not run again, but she's considering it again.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing
good luck for her. I hope she runs.
I do too. And you know what? I hope David Hogg runs for president and AOC is his VP pick. So the ticket will be a Hogg AOC.
Nice.
Hey, you may not want to talk to her, but you would definitely Hogg AOC, wouldn't you?
Nope.
No, really? She's cute.
Not anymore.
Oh, you don't have to listen to her talk.
Exactly.
And I mean, shit, she might go get her tubes tied, so you don't have to worry about knocking her up. Yes, go ahead and get me kicked off the internet for making a joke about an attractive lady wanting to have sex with her. Oh, no. Well, let's move on to another topic altogether. Oh, by the way, actually, if AOC did become president, what do you think would happen to the migration crisis? Do you think it would just kick right back off? Or do you
Oh,
think
hell
she would-
yeah. Definitely.
You think so? You don't think she would keep it locked down after Trump fixed it?
No, she don't give a shit about that. The Dems need more illegal immigration, people voting for them to like make sure they stay in power.
Well, the common thing you'll hear is they can't vote, they're not citizens.
Okay.
Okay, I'll accept that argument, but they still get counted on the census.
Yep.
Which gives them congressional seats and electoral votes in the electoral college for president.
Yep.
So by bringing in these folks, that was what the 2/3 compromise was way back in the day. It didn't say that a black person, a slave, was 2/3 of a person. It said you don't get to count your quote property towards the census.
Right.
But apparently, about 180K non-citizens were intentionally let into the U.S., never detained in the first place. I thought that wasn't happening. Like, I thought they were immediately intercepted and given a court date that they just didn't bother showing up to. Interesting, huh? Meanwhile, we're getting a surge of Indian migrants coming from Canada. That is very interesting, but that also may be why Trump spoke to Trudeau and threatened to put a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods until they fix the immigration.
Well, he
crisis.
also said that Canada should become our 51st state.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is Trump makes a joke like we're going to annex Canada and make it our 51st state, and everyone's like,
People
"Oh my
don't know
God,
how
he's
to
gonna
take
invade
Trump's
Canada."
jokes.
And that's the thing. The guy's fucking hilarious. He really is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Trump's, yeah, he's crass, but he makes me laugh. Like, whatever happened to comedy, dude? You used to be able to make funny jokes, and now people just get offended by everything.
Oh yeah.
Everything. But okay, so the new Mexican president, what's her name?
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. I still remember Maduro.
I don't care.
Well, she was the one who said we're not going to comply with Trump's demands on migration and coming.
She will by the time he's president.
She's already broken up 2 caravans working their way through Mexico coming up to the United States. Again, because he threatened a 25% tariff on all Mexican-made goods. What are we really getting from Mexico these days, though? Like, I'm sure we're getting plenty of stuff. But what are we getting? What avocados? It's not like it was in the 80s when everything said Hecho and Mexico. You know what I mean? Now everything's made in China. Which Trump threatened to put 100% tariff on Chinese goods. And again, this is the big ask. You say we're gonna do this unless you do that. Then they do that, so you don't have to.
And then you got to do that because they did do that.
Well, and that's the thing is, some of these people that are getting so butthurt about this stuff should read his book, The Art of the Deal. I brought this up to that dude, Sean, I keep talking about. He's like, I wouldn't read a book written by a fascist dictator. I was like, dude, you read Mein Kampf. But you won't read The Art of the Deal? And then he says stuff like, oh, he's worse than Hitler. I'm like, oh my fucking God. I'm sorry, how many Jews did Trump round up and exterminate?
Absolutely none.
Yeah. Like, if you genuinely say he's worse than Hitler, then you need to back the fuck off and check your own goddamn privilege, because no one was exterminated under Trump. 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazis. This is just I know you're trying to make it sound like Trump's worse, but you're making it sound like Hitler wasn't that bad.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it's infuriating, dude. Oh, here we go. Record number of Chinese folks have illegally entered the U.S. to the point that Biden is actually going to do something about it.
Yeah, okay.
This is something that we had brought up before. Was they're like, oh, it's black. You hate brown people coming across the border. If you leave the border wide open, what's going to stop the Russians and the Chinese from
Absolutely
flooding in
nobody.
here?
They're coming from the north. They're coming from the south now. So
Yeah, like they can get into, and you're worried about Russian influence. You leave the border wide open, they're going to come in here, you know? And dear God, the Russians are white. They might be able to blend in and actually vote in these states that don't check voter ID.
Yep.
Did you notice the election map? All the states that turned out blue after the election, not a single one of them required voter ID.
Of course not.
Very curious. What up, repeat offender?
Back in the house, boys. Back in the house.
You got yourself a drink yet, or is it too early for you?
Too early.
Oh, still on double time, mate. I'm just on the power drinks.
I think Brian and I might have to get together and order you a case of Foster's so you can have your favorite beer on hand.
Can you even get that in Australia?
We'll mail it to them.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll ship it.
What do you tell me? You finally got sponsors on board?
No, we're just gonna sponsor you to drink some Fosters.
That'll be our commercial. Like, watch the Aussie actually friggin' pound down a Foster, an oil can.
We can turn this into a live event.
We definitely could.
What do you think? Oh God, it's so terrible.
Pay per view. How we been anyway? Geez, big week, eh? Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't even a whole bunch of stuff that happened. It was just big stuff.
Yeah.
Pete Hegseth, he's going through, definitely.
It's looking good for him.
It's looking real good, and actually, it looks like he may be suing this woman accusing him of rape.
Hopefully.
Yep, 110%.
Well, she signed an NDA when she accepted a hush money payment.
And then she violated it by bringing the shit up.
Yep. And it's like, no, you signed off saying, I'll take this money and shut the fuck up. Which doesn't, I love people like, that means you're guilty. Like, no, it means it was going to take 4 years to go through a court system and cost him $600,000 in lawyer fees. And it was easier just to pay you to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump's done it millions of times.
Happens in business every day. Every day it happens in business.
Has anyone seen Fight Club?
Yeah. Don't talk about Fight Club. That's rule number 1.
You're right. But they brought up in the movie how the automotive recall system works. The company has to look, what's it going to cost to pay out claims if people get hurt or killed by our vehicles out there versus what's it going to cost to recall the vehicle?
Which is cheaper? We'll go that route.
That's the way all of this shit works because you're trying to make money. All right, well, let's move on. Brian, I swear to God, Brian might have to get his prostate checked. He's got to pee like every 4 minutes. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Repeat offender. Next time you come to the States, we'll make a live performance of this. You check his prostate, all right?
I'll bring the rubber gloves.
Yeah. Rubber gloves, and make sure you tickle that thing. Make him pop one off real good and then laugh at him for it.
Get the old walnut.
Yeah, it's like, dude, did you just nut when a dude's finger was up your butt?
Make him call my name 3 times.
While we're in that, this terrible topic here, Supreme Court is hearing the case over gender affirming care in Tennessee. They are trying to decide whether or not Tennessee is allowed to ban hormone therapy or trans surgeries for minors. I have my opinion, and I think the Supreme Court's going to rule saying Tennessee can, in fact, do this.
Mm.
But I've saw some
You know,
very
like-
interesting. Okay.
No, you're right, mate. I just thought complete madness to start to come to a standstill. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be very interesting to see how they rule on this.
Yeah, here's the question: are they going to make a broad sweeping decision, or is it going to be specific to this particular case? The Supreme Court can say, yes, you can, and that's the end of it. Or they can say, no, you can't, and neither can anyone else in the country.
Yeah.
Usually the Supreme Court doesn't do a sweeping decision like that. But what got me was I saw a bunch of signs, and because I paid a lot of attention to this, and I got a good laugh because when Claire came to me at the time, still using quote dead name, said that he was becoming a she. First thing I said was, wow, that's a long way to go to not have to admit you're gay. Well, I saw signs at the outside the Supreme Court saying pro-trans is anti-gay. And a lot of these people that were talking about trans in their kids, they're like, well, my then son was attracted to boys. So we turned he into a she. I'm like, so they can't be gay? Like I thought you weren't allowed to say that.
Right.
And this is where we get into some really, really murky waters because these kids don't have the ability to give consent. So the parents are making these decisions, and they say it's reversible with these hormone blockers. But the problem is, let's say you put your 12-year-old girl on puberty blockers right before she blossoms into a woman. 10 years later, this person decides, I'm going to, in fact, be a woman. And you take them off these hormone blockers. Now they're 10 years behind on puberty. They didn't develop properly. They grew taller, but they didn't mature, and their brain didn't mature. Your brain's not done growing until you're 25.
That's why they don't want kids smoking weed before they're like 18.
I agree, but the thing is, you're going to say this kid can cut their breasts off in a double mastectomy because they believe it, but they can't get a tattoo because they aren't mature enough to make a decision.
No, they can't drink either.
Because the tattoo is permanent. I'm like, so isn't the double mastectomy?
Most definitely.
You can enlist at 18, can't you? Go and fight a war.
You can't enlist until, you can enlist at 17, but you need your parents to sign off in the United States. 18, you can sign up on your own, which I'm still bothered by. And a lot of people who have served are bothered by, because you can go to war and get shot in the face for your country, but you can't come home and have a beer.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's or have a cigarette.
Well, they're the same now.
Yes. I was 22 when I signed up. So in A school, I was going over to the base club having a beer. But I'm watching, most of these kids were like 18, 19, I'd finish training with them and like, let's go get a drink. Like, I can't. I'm like, oh, what fuck,
It's crazy, isn't it? Like different cultures around the world, like Italy. The kids had wine at 8 years of age at the dinner table.
I remember in Greece, the general, there was an official age, but in general, if you could see over the bar, they would serve you a drink. And I was like, all right. Like, now I don't like the idea of letting a 12-year-old get sloppy drunk. But typically you don't let most people get sloppy drunk in your bar because it's not good for business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, I will say, and I know Brian knows this, when the United States Navy travels around the world and hits port, they let the sailors get sloppy drunk because they spend so much money.
Oh, yeah.
We'd show
because
up
we've been saving up money between ports. We got it to spend. We got money to blow.
You were at sea for 3 months. You had port. You dropped $400 between food and booze, American dollars, and this is when the American dollar was still worth more than anyone else's currency, dollar to dollar. And they loved it because we just dumped tons of money into the community and then leave.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, You didn't have to worry about these assholes in 2 days because they were leaving and going somewhere else.
Yep. Somebody else's problem.
Yeah, exactly. All right, they're going to Australia next. Let Australia deal with them. It's like they get too out of control there, they'll get punched in the face and then served another beer.
That's it. Move on to the next pub.
Well, that was the thing that I really enjoyed about Australia was they would let you get away with so much shit, but once you hit a certain point, they would get right up in your face, be like, "You need to calm the fuck down, mate." And if you said anything like "fuck you," whatever, they punch you in the mouth. And as long as you didn't get up and hit them back, they would buy you a drink to apologize for having to hit you. And it's like, all right, buddy, let's have another drink.
Yeah, with $20 and have a great night.
Everyone's friends.
Yeah, with $20 and have a great night, eh?
Yeah. I will say though, I don't know all what's going on in Australia, but apparently a lot of your men beat the shit out of the women.
Yeah, they do.
And apparently it's a big issue.
Mate, it's not majority men, it's minority.
But it's enough of them.
Well, I know when I showed up in the early
tennis balls,
late 8. No, that's Thailand.
Oh, the tennis balls happen in Australia.
Well, it wasn't tennis. It was golf balls and razor blades in Thailand.
Oh no, we're talking about different things altogether.
You think?
When I went to Australia, we would hit port, and as we pulled in, these women would have tennis balls with their name and number written on them. They would throw them on the ship.
Huh?
Looking like these American men treat the women so great. It's like, you're seeing dudes that have been at sea for 3 to 6 months at a time. They're gonna treat
but
you like
even
a
those men
goddess.
still treated that in the local opinion. Even those men still treat them better than like the Aussie men because they respected them and they wanted to have sex with them. So they treat them nicely.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Money,
Like
don't go back to fellas.
Yeah.
The girls running in for the cash, mate. Trust me.
Well, no, they wanted exactly. These American dudes would show up, and they hadn't seen a woman in months, and they treated them like goddesses, and they assumed that's how we treated all women all the time. And don't get me wrong, a lot of
that's
guys
how I
do.
treat my wife.
There's a lot, but there's a lot of douchebag men in the United States too. Let's be real.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, and you'd show up and they'd be like, they tried to get this American husband, and it's like, I understand what you think is going on, but trust me, these dudes do not want to marry you and take you home. They want to bang you, and then leave and never talk to you again.
Yeah,
they can give you their mate's name.
Oh man, I used the name Rusty Shackelford in every port I went to, just so they could never find me. Like I remember once, I talked about it on the show. I got in trouble in Greece. I'm not going to go into all the details. Let's just say it was legal in Greece, but not in the United States. And I could have got away with it if I had not lied to my captain.
I wonder what it's going to be.
Yeah, she was a little younger.
Exactly.
But I told her my name was Rusty Shackelford from the USS Lollipop. Like, good luck finding me. All right. Brian, what do you think is going to happen with this Supreme Court case? Back on topic concerning transgender stuff.
I think that it's going to revert back to the states issue. I think the Supreme Court will say it's up to the states to determine what they want to do in their state, as it should be.
A 10th Amendment issue.
Yes.
I agree. Apparently Chelsea Manning got arrested for storming the Capitol building.
Oh no,
Yeah, Chelsea Manning. I don't know if you recall.
She went to prison.
Went to prison. Was Bradley Manning at one point? Went to prison. Decided to be a woman, or decided she was a woman. This was the person involved with making Julian Assange flee the country, right?
Right.
Yep.
Very, very curious stuff happening there. Meanwhile, California, the Attorney General wants people to report shopping centers if there's not enough gender neutral toys available. What the
Yeah.
fuck does that mean?
I don't know, but you better report them.
I thought we were supposed to say there was no such thing as gender specific toys anymore. Like,
Well, that's
if the-
but yeah, in most states, but not in California.
but I thought just because she wants to play with GI Joes doesn't mean she's a boy. But apparently that's what we're doing now is we're transing kids because she plays with GI Joes and he plays with Barbies.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so difficult to stay on top of this shit because it changes so fast. And again, they act like a girl, so therefore they're a girl. I thought that wasn't a thing. And again, it sounds like they're anti-gay. Like, oh, this person's attracted to this sex, therefore they must be the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Again, you keep up on this shit, but it changes so fast. And these people are so passionate that they're on the right side of history. It's like, dude, 6 months ago you were arguing the other side of this argument, calling everyone Nazis, and now you're arguing the opposite side, calling everyone Nazis. Like, does that mean you were a Nazi 2 years ago?
You're only a Nazi when it's convenient to make money.
Well, here's the fun part: is the Village people thank Trump for using YMCA and the Trump shimmy.
Yeah.
And they said they deny it as a gay anthem, and that just made me laugh so hard. Everyone knows YMCA, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Have you ever been to a wedding and not danced to the YMCA?
It's very international, mate. It's very international.
Yeah, it's at every wedding you go to. It's everywhere. It's everything. Now, if we want to talk about a gay song that the Village people did, we could talk about In the Navy.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how things have changed around? Did you see Trump over in Notre Dame? Over in Paris?
Yeah.
I didn't know Trump was there, but I know they did just finish the reconstruction of the church.
That's what he was there for.
I didn't know that Trump went there. That's
and the world leaders kissing
He was
his ass
invited,
now.
but Biden wasn't.
Oh,
the world leaders are kissing his ass now, big time.
Big fire is what happened, right?
Yeah.
They caught on fire probably about 2 weeks after I was in Paris.
Oh, geez.
Back in 2019.
So you're the reason why I caught on fire.
Tossing cigarettes in the leaves out front of the church.
It smoldered for 2 weeks and it finally caught on fire.
Yeah, the northern spire collapsed, right? And it was like 200 years old.
Yeah, it's massive, massive church.
Yeah.
But they basically spent so much time and money on the refurbishment that it looks like the original Notre Dame compared to like a Notre Dame from hundreds of years old.
Gotcha. So it looks
actually made a movie of it on Netflix.
Oh, I believe that. I totally believe that. By the way,
I thought we had that in here someplace.
Maybe I remember seeing something about it, but I remember not sharing the article because I was like, this was so long ago.
But I thought I shared it because of Trump.
I don't remember seeing it come up.
Because he was invited to Notre Dame, but Biden wasn't.
Yeah. He's getting the arse kicked out big time by the world leaders.
Yeah, and it's funny because some of these world leaders are like, this guy's an idiot or whatever. It's like, better watch your mouth. Like, Trump will forgive you as long as you get in line, but you can only poke the bear so many times because I got a feeling Trump ain't gonna put up with the same shit he did the first time because he tried to show up. He tried to show up the first time and play ball the way everyone else had, and the deep state would not allow it to happen. And that's why
he didn't realize how deep the deep state was back then.
Well, the thing is, he drained the swamp, but the problem was
he didn't drain it enough.
Well, he exposed the swamp monsters. He didn't get rid of the swamp monsters. He just let us see who they were. So that's why he's going. That's why he's going nominating guys like Hegseth and Ramaswamy to be doing these jobs. Yeah, and Patel. I am so excited. The best part is I wanted to bring up Patel a while ago, but I was like, no way he's gonna get the nomination.
I
No
think he is.
way.
I think he is.
Oh, and he's gonna get confirmed.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Did you hear what he said about the J. Edgar Hoover building?
They're going
7,000 of them are going back out in the streets. He's going to get rid of them.
Yeah.
He said, we'll turn it into a museum.
Well, and that's the thing is a lot of people like he's going to fire all these people. Like, he never said he was going to fire anyone. He said he's going to put them back out there to enforce the law and not be an intelligence agency.
Right.
And I was like, good.
The FBI
good.
the FBI should not be an intelligence agency. We got other agencies for that. FBI should be law enforcement and investigation.
Yeah, exactly. Federal Bureau of Investigation. You investigate these crimes and then you go and arrest people. Just like the FBI just arrested that not congresswoman, city councilwoman in Boston.
Councillor, yeah.
Your former councilwoman.
What a scheme!
Yeah.
$13,000 she was paying at a time to a bloody relative.
Oh,
You're getting $7,000 kickback.
She's going to prison. Like, there's no way around this. You are done. Now, here's the question: is Massachusetts turn around and have a look at everyone else?
No, they're going to vote. They're going to vote another Dem into our place.
It's one thing to vote another Dem in. But are you going to go and look for more corruption, or are you just going to pretend that this is a one-time thing?
One-time thing.
Yeah. Now, does this?
She might sell that hop too, girl.
If we talked about her too, man, her dad must be so proud, huh?
Thanks for spitting on her dick.
Yeah, exactly. She got famous for the way she blows dudes, and now she's gonna go to prison for ripping them off too.
Blow women.
All right, moving on to our next topic of discussion here.
Yep.
The U.S. Navy actually had to discharge weapons in defense of a Houthi attack on merchant ships. They shot down missiles or whatever. They repelled this attack.
Yeah.
Do the Houthis really want to get into a battle with the United States Navy?
No.
No.
But they also know the current administration won't do much about it either. So
yeah, they not
doesn't seem like the rules of engagement in that area of the country are all that stiff.
I know you.
It seems like we're firing weapons off for deterrence rather than like trying to sink shit.
That's the thing is why didn't we shot down missiles? Why didn't we sink these ships? That really bothered me. It's like once they fire upon you, you're allowed to fire back at them.
Yeah.
We'll be back in about 10 minutes, boys. I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
All right.
All right.
I've just got to do something up. Work, I'll be straight back.
He's gonna go secretly pound down a Foster's.
No, he's not.
He doesn't want us to see it. And this next one, Brian, it's funny.
Yeah.
I shared this article like 3 days ago. Then you put it in there. What, yesterday or today?
Yeah, it was recently.
The George Washington left Norfolk, Virginia.
Yep.
And it took them like a week or so to get to their new home base in Yokosuka, Japan.
It took them more than a week to get from Norfolk to Japan.
Actually, it doesn't take that long at full steam to get.
They're not going full steam.
No, you're right, but it didn't take long, is what I'm saying, to get to Yokosuka. But 2 sailors died within a couple days of hitting Japan.
Yeah.
And the George Washington recently came out of dry dock, right?
Yeah.
What are the actual numbers on this? I want to say 7. I think there were 7 suicides in 2 years in dry dock or something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Anyway, NCIS is investigating these these deaths.
But the power that be on the ground are trying to say that the ship had nothing to do with the amount of alcohol these people drank and died from alcohol poisoning.
Oh, has that come out? Because what I see is NCIS is still investigating with the Japanese authorities.
Well, maybe there's an old article I shared on here. It may not have made it, but the George Washington is banned from off base drinking until further notice. So that tells me
Well,
it's something right there.
all right. And between April 21 and April 22, 5 sailors died by suicide. And that does sound, oh, Jesus Christ, Brian shared another article here. That does sound about right because in RCOH reconstruction overhaul and dry dock in general, the hours are obscene for anyone who works at all, basically, on the ship. Now, some departments get it real easy in dry dock and in port period, depending on what you do. Like if you're a sonar tech, you're not working 20-hour days like the engineering.
The sonar is
I mean,
not working.
Yeah. Like I literally worked 20-hour days in dry dock on the Carl Vinson.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, I would just stay on the ship instead. I was like, why drive 40 minutes home to turn around and come back to work if I could just crash in my rack on the ship? And I only knew one person, but we had one suicide. Jumped off the command tower onto the flight deck. Oh, geez Louise, what a mess that was. She was a topsider too. Something has to be done about this. Like, we know this is a real issue. We know it's not going away. And I don't know if you're aware, Brian, but a lot of the people that die in the shipyard are actually drug out of the shipyard before they call the authorities because it hurts the numbers. Because it hurts numbers if people keep dying on the job.
Right.
Was it star 988 or something like that? Suicide hotline. I'm not sure what it is, but anyone out there who's considering any of this,
you know a number in Australia?
14, 13, 11, I think it is.
There you go. Just remember, you are not alone. There is someone to talk to. It's not worth it.
Nope.
No, speak up. I'd rather listen to you now, mate, than not listen to you at all.
Exactly. Anyway, Brian, what's this other article you shared in here about the George Washington? No, all right. Well, it looks like you just shared one in there because it's still in HTML and not
it's the same article.
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. Allowed to continue using race. Oh, there we go. And I love how you do this, dude. You'll share in an article, but you put it in the middle of a fucking link that we already have there. It's in the middle of. Yeah, you do. It starts with the academy, and then it goes into your giant HTML, and then it says is still allowed to use race admissions. Well, anyway, the Naval Academy is still allowed to use race based admissions because racism is great. Most schools aren't allowed to do that anymore, but the military is, because apparently putting someone in charge on a fucking warship, it matters more what the color of their skin is than how qualified they're to do the position. That I find that very upsetting, and I don't know enough about this, but this person, we were in. Oh, where were we? I think we might have been in Greece. We might have been in. Yeah, I think we were in Greece in I don't remember which island. But we had a storm come in.
Seychelles.
No, it wasn't Seychelles. We had a storm coming. We had to get
Palma
on
de
land.
Mallorca.
No. It wasn't Rhodes. It might have been in Crete. I'm not sure. So it might have been Seychelles. We had a storm coming. We had to do an emergency underway. And anyone who's ever been on a ship, when the weather comes in, you can't just unmoor the ship because the ship's rocking back and forth and slamming against the pier. When we finally did get underway, actually, we had a bollard that the mooring line attaches to hanging from the ship on the mooring line because it ripped off the pier. But there's a deck chief. Who are the ones that do that are in charge of like mooring and unmooring, Brian.
DMCs?
The what?
Bosun's mates.
BM. Yeah, right. Yeah, she was a BMC, and she grabbed a fire axe and went to go cut the mooring line, a piece of the taut mooring line that was like just suspended in the air because it was tied, and she pulled the axe up to go cut through this mooring line. I ran over and grabbed it out of her hands as a second class petty officer. So an E5 telling an E7, "You're fucking stupid."
Right.
And she starts cussing at me. I'm like, that's gonna bounce off that mooring line, and the spike of that axe is gonna come right back in your forehead. So I took it and started chopping at the bollards, the bits where you wrap the line around, because you're not gonna get the line's not gonna stretch and snap back on you, basically, you know. And I just remember, like, this is you know how to do this stuff. This is your job, and it took engineering to show up and be like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're gonna die. We're gonna have to deal with your fucking corpse over here while we're trying to get the ship underway, so we don't destroy the ship." And that was terrifying enough when she didn't know what she was doing. Now imagine it was an officer and not a chief, you know? All right. All right, back on to, actually, we never really left the topic. We're still talking about Department of Defense and war and stuff. Caitlin Collins, she is a journalist, I guess. I guess you could use that word. But, oh, excuse me. She was just shocked. Oh, here we go. Let me go ahead and just play it. Oh, loading ad. Terrific. Always loading ads. I gotta stop saving these things again and just playing the clip.
That Pete Hegseth has done is denying that allegation of sexual assault. That was kind of one of the first things that came up after Trump picked him to be his defense secretary. He has denied it fervently. It was settled in an agreement with this woman in 2017. Yesterday, when you were talking to Jake Tapper, you said that you believed it's extortion. But of course, as you know, extortion is also a crime. So if you felt that it was extortion, why not go to the police at the time?
Well, it was a decision that we made, and the email from the attorney, it was something that I don't know if it quite rises to the level of a criminal extortion that the police would take it on, but I think it certainly does meet the definition under the California law for civil extortion, and it was something that we were considering at the time, and quite frankly, with the violation of the agreement, if he is not confirmed as the Secretary of Defense, we may still bring a civil extortion claim against her.
So if he is not ultimately confirmed because of these allegations, you may take legal action against the person at the center of that agreement.
Absolutely. If the false claims of somebody that was part of an extortion that was then put out in violation of a settlement agreement ultimately causes him to lose his future employment opportunities, then yes, that is something that is worth bringing a lawsuit against her and her friend and potentially even the attorney for, yes.
We've heard some people say that she should be released from that non-disclosure agreement that was part of the settlement agreement. Is there any consideration between you and Mr. Hegseth of doing that?
Well, so first of all, it's not a non-disclosure agreement is something where one party agrees not to disclose. This is a confidential settlement agreement that had confidentiality on both sides. That agreement has since been breached by her. And so as a result, I sent notice to her attorney that agreement is no longer has any force and effect. That's one of the reasons why I can talk about it here, because prior to that, the agreement prevented Mr. Hegseth from talking about her conduct. So there is no NDA to release her from. And if she wants to go and talk about it, she can do it. I mean, certainly she would do it at her own peril of a further defamation lawsuit. But and additionally,
well, that's news.
NDAs,
We didn't. People have been calling for her to be able to speak, and you're saying, I mean, you're his attorney. You're saying that from the agreement which you negotiated, that she can come out and speak on CNN or wherever she chooses.
Of course. However, if she doesn't tell the truth, if she repeats these false statements, then she will be subject to a defamation lawsuit.
There's more, but that was the brunt of it. So yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't know if anyone's noticed, but anytime the Democrats are upset about anything, it's always some kind of sex scandal. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Which is fascinating because you look at Diddy, you look at Epstein, you look at all this stuff. This falls right into Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals, accuse the other side of doing exactly what you're doing. This reminds me an awful lot of the Denver, Colorado mayor who said he wasn't afraid to go to jail over this migration thing, the enforcement of the migration laws. And who was it?
Tom Holman.
Huh? No, can't remember the person's name. The person who's going to be in charge of this stuff. It might have been Kash Patel who said, well, I have no problem putting him in jail. And the journalist was like, whoa. It's like, you just said you're willing to break the law. You're not afraid to go to jail. I guess you're going to go to jail, you know?
Yeah, Tom Holman, the new party borders are.
Yeah, maybe. It might have been Patel. I'm not sure. Because Bordesau doesn't necessarily have the authority to arrest people for the crimes. Brian, you asleep?
Nope.
Nope. Yeah, the Washington Post is going too far in general right now to try to discredit Hegseth. And pissed off basically every American veteran came out and said the Bronze Star is not that big a deal, and they kind of hand them out like candy. I personally know hundreds of United States veterans, technically thousands because my crew on the ships, but I only know one person with a Bronze Star, and they were a war hero in Vietnam. And Hegseth has two of these things.
Incredible, isn't it?
Well, how many people you're gonna shit on the entire Department of Defense to try to discredit a war hero?
Well, did you see the photo that was taken at outside World Trade Center? The SEALs have a swim across the Hudson River to raise money.
Yeah.
And I was watching the Megyn Kelly show, and anyway, there's a photo of Tom Hegseth with the American flag at the memorial site there. And this chick turned around and said, well, this is going to be your new Secretary of Defense, blah, blah, blah. And some guy wrote back, an expert wrote back and said, you know, actually, that's his swimming trunks. He's actually just competed in the swim race to raise money for veterans and that. He's paying respect at the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Megyn Kelly went off a dime. Like, she's going, I hope this woman, I won't say what she actually said. But, yeah.
Kelly, I'm still not sure what I don't watch her online show. I do occasionally catch a bit here and there when she does something with Dave Rubin. And I don't follow Dave Rubin either, but it shows up in my feed. I'm like, all right, let's check it out, She's really gotten what's the word I'm looking, more loud, maybe. More, she says more now that she's not on cable news. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. She's swung conservative now too.
She's always been rather conservative. After the whole blackface thing about Halloween, she got furious. Like, how come Jimmy Kimmel gets away with doing blackface and Ted Danson gets away with blackface and what was his name? Was it Northam in Virginia, Brian?
And Trudeau.
Yeah, and Trudeau in Canada. Brian is passed out now. But her kid can't dress up as Martin Luther King for Halloween. Like, that's racist. It's like, you don't think Jimmy Kimmel going, hi, I'm Karl Malone, and dribbling a basketball is racist?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Northam in Virginia. Like, well, we don't know if he was one in blackface. Okay, so was he the guy in blackface or the guy in the Klan hood?
Hey.
But anyway, the United States is apparently we're going to dump shit tons more money into Ukraine before Trump takes office, just in case he stops this funding. And that's the thing, man. Like, we pay taxes. Biden sends it to Ukraine. Ukraine gives it to Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden gives it back to Joe Biden. Like, that seems to be the cycle with this money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, the Syrian army has withdrawn from Homs. It's a key city because the rebels have encircled the capital city of Damascus. So I don't know what's going on in Syria, but it looks like their entire government's about to be overthrown in a revolution.
Yeah, well, he's been a long time in charge. I think it's Assad, isn't it? What's his name? Can't even say. He's been there for a long time, mate. He's done a lot of nasty things in Syria.
Assad's still in charge? I thought he was assassinated years ago. No?
I'm trying to think his name. I can't even remember it, mate. But yeah, he's done a lot of nasty things in Syria.
I know,
that leader.
it's tough to keep track of every world leader. I'm pretty sure last week I said I thought Aleppo was the capital, and as soon as they shut off the show, I was like, "Ah, crap! It's Damascus. Aleppo is just another major city."
Yep. Well, they took that the other week. The rebels took it the other week.
Yeah. I don't particularly care too much what's going on in Syria, honestly. I know it's near Israel, Iran, Libya, not Libya, Iran, Iraq, all that. But honestly, it would take me 5 minutes to find it on a map if it was the name of the country is written on it. You know what I mean? But I got some more topics here that I don't really care to get too much into, especially because Brian has passed out. So let me go ahead and try to wrap this show up. Anyone who did make it this far through the show, please share this out to everyone out there that you might be friends with, anyone who might be interested. More listens means more, but hey, if you want to throw a couple bucks, help us pay our fees, that'd be awesome. Peace out, everyone.
See you, brother.